Hello, beautiful people.
I'm back. Did we miss me? Actually,
Obia.
that's not true. So there was a comment on the last video. Someone misses me.
Let me
That
have.
point
I'll go
is
and check. I'll go and check it.
go and
I'll go and
check
check.
and post it right here. Let everybody see that someone said they missed on him mama. But
So,
I'm back.
well, Ohimama, what has been a significant change?
To say like I'm joking.
Hey,
I don't want any trouble. I beg you guys. Maybe I may try with nephew. But yeah,
what do I do with you? Yeah, driving me every.
no, y'all.
Odwana
Um,
wayo, Odwana
um,
wayo. I don't know why you have to.
I'm on to mommy, but it's okay. No, but you guys, thanks for your love, your prayers, your support. The program, the farewell, everything went nice and beautifully, and
It
we
was a
just got
beautiful
done.
ceremony, though.
Yeah, it really was. We just got done with the service and the moving and the packing, and I was just helping the family. So that's why you
Yeah.
guys haven't seen me in a while. But it was a beautiful service. Um, Elder David too came out, so he got to enjoy some of the service. So we have
Yeah,
fun.
it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was kind of different too. So, you know,
Yeah. A lot is going on in the church, but
yeah, a lot.
the future is so bright. Can't wait. Yeah.
Okay, today we have a wonderful guest in our midst.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear the name, you know Tio. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with a round of applause and a rounding sound to Jehovah God, welcome Braa Kwaku to the PK pod.
AKA Dang. I feel like I didn't know it also. So break it down for us. Break down the names for us.
Break down.
The Braa.
All
So you're Braa Kwaku.
Yeah.
And then Adonijan Soho.
Oh, okay.
And then what else?
Mm.
And then TOT.
Okay, so I'm Braa Kwaku. That's the brand name. I don't know if you want the official name, but
Add it.
okay. So officially, Gideon Nana Osei and Kwaku Kweku.
Wow.
Um, but I use the name Braa Kwaku because of ministry. All the other add-ons, I don't know. Like you know how musicians have their, is it their mantra? I don't know what they call it, but they have something they usually say in the course of singing.
like Adam Reku. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know,
They're known by their ad libs and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
their
yeah.
ad lib.
it's something when you hear them do or say without even them singing, it announces their presence in a ministration or something. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I think I got this from Prophet PB Apiedu, so I have to give credits to him. TOT, I have to give credits to him because one time in a music seminar somewhere in PCC, he was he was giving a presentation, and then he paused and was like, TOT. He paused for a moment, and from that time, whatever he was saying really sank in. I I don't think it was for only me, but he really caught the attention. He did it in a moment, but I took it upon as a revelation. So anytime, and for my ministry, I do worship praises with poetry. So I took it, and anytime I have to do like poetry, I would say TOT, just to bring the attention of the people in. It has a biblical significance in the book of Psalms. The psalmist will always say Selah. And when you hear Selah, it means pause and reflect on these words. So maybe TOTA is the tree for Selah. I took it upon myself. And then Adonijah, it's a whole thing. But all these are brand accompaniments. People will say, yeah, I mean, it adds on to the brand. Adonijah became, it was a revelation I caught in the name, which means my Lord is Yahweh. Yahweh is my Lord. And then I studied the life of Adonijah, who was the son of David. He didn't live a very good life, trying to usurp his father's throne and everything. But then the revelation I caught was that we sometimes despise people for their actions, not for the meaning of their names. I mean, we've had people who are called Emmanuel and they are armed robbers, people who are called Rebecca and they are prostitutes. Does it mean that you will not name your child Emmanuel because you saw one Emmanuel who was an armed robber or something? So it was a controversial tangent I intentionally went on. I had a lot of pastors would reach out to me and be like, bro, do you know who Adonijah was in the Bible? I was like, yeah, but do you know the meaning of the name Adonijah? So it also became like a platform for me to even educate everybody,
Bible, Adonijah no any wrong.
Oh yeah, bad rough Adonijah. No, first of all, Papa David.
Now that's not confirmed name or Judas. You got everyone Judas.
So the thing is, I mean, Lucifer is the bearer of light. That is the name Lucifer.
I've seen that, yeah.
Trust me, if somebody names his son or daughter Lucifer, it's a good name. Satan is the fallen Lucifer. Do you get it? So if you name your
because of the things that he did, but
yes. So sometimes I think people is prejudicial. People tend to be prejudicial towards people because of the life they live, not the name. But you can also say, hey, do you know you bear the name Adonijah, which means Yahweh is Lord? Why don't you try and live your life,
like
to
your
fashion
name
out the meaning of your name, not the life that somebody lived. So that's also a controversial tangent. I was going on and on and on for some time.
So from what you're saying, somebody can change the meaning of a name by the way they live.
Please.
Bars.
Please.
We're learning something.
That is the whole revelation of adopting the name. Yeah, so I've seen people called controversial names in the Bible. So we've denigrated the name Samson, but I've seen people called Samson. And people might say, oh, Samson didn't fulfill his promise, blah, blah, blah. Bible says that at his death, he killed more than his entire life.
Yeah.
So there's something with the name. You have to look at the meaning of the name, not the life that the person lived. But what you said, it really brings the point home. So yeah, that's about Adonijah or any other name in the Bible. Look at the meaning of the name and live the meaning of the name. Yeah.
But talking about names, right? Oh, sorry, Amma, where do you go?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Continue.
I was just gonna say, talking about names, like especially Africans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abraham. I say, and so Abraham
no, that name we don't hear it anymore. That name Abraham, no way, no.
You don't hear.
Abraham. No, man.
Hey,
obviously, Martha, and to say, Mercy, obviously. Oh, my catch us. Oh, yeah. Mercy, so can you bad? Mercy,
and Constance.
Constance. Oh, Connie. Comfort. Oh,
oh, Charlie. Yeah, but you see how we tend to look down certain names, and over time we just phase these names out. Beautiful names, Let me tell this quick story. So my name is Gideon, and back home in Ghana, Rebecca say, hey, Ogidi. Oh, Charlie. Ogidi. I mean, sometimes they add Ogidi something. So I moved to US, and then I'm like, nah, this is a good platform for me to rebrand Gideon. And so I took the name Dion.
Hey!
Dion, Gideon, Mr.
It's giving American vibes.
It's giving American. And then I go to work.
It's giving bad boy.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Mighty man of valor. So I go to work, and then, I mean, at work, you have to call your name. So your first, and that's one good culture I love about America. They call you by your first name. So I'm Gideon, but you can call me Dion. And people are like, I love Gideon. That's a beautiful name. I love Gideon. Every work that I've gone to, like I've worked in about 3 different places now, and everybody loves Gideon more than Dion. I'm like,
Look
oh,
at that.
look at
Wait,
this,
wait.
So we na Gideon come
We'll
to
give
Gideon
you.
at all. Oh,
Hey, next time.
Trouble.
Okay, say maybe
Man,
I'll yes,
fry
you
all
this
the
one. Come and
ogidi.
so bro. Oh, come maybe I can say your friend me Ogidi that me say my Ogidi. Omeka say it's a nice name and I say it's a nice name.
oh, Charlie. Yeah,
Oh
but
no.
that's about names. I have other terms and mantras I use, like ehu and asemasa. I mean, all are just to drive the attention of people towards. We carry a certain message, and I believe that God can give you a message, but how you package it and present it, will give you audience. It's noted that Peter was very outspoken among the disciples. No wonder on the day of Pentecost, it is the same Holy Spirit that came on the 120. But because of his extra nature of being outspoken and everything, he was able to package the message and won 3,000 souls. Eventually, all the other apostles also did ministry. But the first entrance of the gospel from someone outside Jesus was Peter. So you have to brand yourself. Use your is it sanguine or choleric, whatever you have. Use everything you have to brand. Don't just carry the gospel. If you are
Brand
melancholic,
yourself.
find something that sits well with your nature and move in that. I mean, look at somebody like Pastor Adeboye and see how he preaches. God is going to bless you. But he's in charge of one of the radical charismatic movements across the globe,
Yeah.
And then you look at someone like, even in our church, in Church of Pentecost, you look at a leader like Professor Pokuyina and how he is, and you look at our chairman, Dada Chair, and how he is charismatic and everything. They say brand yourself. So one of my way of branding is the mantras I use in my ministry.
Trust J Events is one of our sponsors, and they are the people to hit up for your flooring. If you're doing an event, they have beautiful floors, beautiful setups that they do offer. Please be sure to follow them online. And we do want to mention that the owner of Trust J Events, Tiffany J, is launching her book called Celebrate. We'll put the flyer details on the screen. Be sure to support and order your book now. Thank you. Let's get back to our conversation. It's
Yeah.
beautiful though. And I love where this conversation is going. Like just already what we've gotten, I know the rest of the conversation will be wonderful. So I think we'll kind of shift to that side. So we know you as Braa Kwaku, but we want to
Mm-hmm.
know a little bit more about you. I think before we got on here, someone was saying that they know Braa Kwaku, but they didn't know Braa Kwaku was a PK.
Oh,
A PK. So tell us about you, your family, your parents, and the stations, the various stations that you have been
okay.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. So officially, I mean, if you didn't know, I know this is a global platform, so it's a good place to say it again that I'm a PK, actually a proud PK. I love being a PK. I didn't. People say I didn't bargain for this. I mean, nobody bargains for it, but I think it's grace that finds us, into some of these offices. So I'm a PK. My dad is Joseph Kweku. He is retired now. My mom is Sabina Sewa Kweku. And we are a family of 8 now. Are we 8? A family of 10. So we
Wow.
have,
Hey, wait, hold
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Family
family of
of
10.
saying I was doing
10.
the PK retired PK sign. Retired PK. I
Oh,
retire.
sir, I already, hey,
There be
Me so
retired
many
means
of you are mending a
uh,
cheap. Mending a
uh,
cheap.
R R
I,
Oh,
E
hey. Now, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
bet
I
you
said
later.
sign language. They are not deal too. Yeah, so we are 10. I mean, my parents. We are five boys, and then three girls. So
Wow.
the first
Oh,
five
for real?
boys.
Wait,
Yeah,
for
I'm
real,
telling
like
you,
legit, y'all 8 kids?
telling you.
Wow.
So it's
Ejajo.
yeah,
I
and
thought
my
come to
dad
the
is
Jacob.
my dad is not someone who is out and out, lovey-dovey romantic. You know, see, you might think he's a hard man, but hard men,
Oh, yeah, soft
men.
boy inside. Oh.
Oh, that's
Unfaithful.
good.
Yeah, so that's my family. I'm the second born,
Okay.
and then I was born. I grew up in the mission house. They gave birth to me before ministry, but I think I was about 2 years when they came into ministry. So yeah, 89, 92. Yeah, I was 2 years. Yeah, our first station was in Akrokere, that is then in Ashanti Region C. Funny enough, Akrokere is my mother's hometown, like Nikrum.
Wow.
So my dad started ministry among his in-laws.
Oh, that's nice though. That's
Yeah, so
dope.
so growing
Yeah.
up, you could see my grandmom come to the house, my auntie, like it. We had that in the beginning. We had a
Yeah.
lot of family people come around, and then from there, so he entered ministry in 1991, and then from there went to Offenswa Hinkro, and then from there, Charlie, baby, I'm able, but I know people might not know these places. These are
No,
the
it's okay.
hinterlands.
Maybe
I mean,
someone
I know. I
someone's
know.
hometown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
It could be
mean,
someone's hometown. Yeah.
Unmako carry you too.
Ah.
Hey,
I could
well,
come many a teacher training do her.
yeah. So that's our hometown. We started ministry from Akeri to Offenswa Incro, then to Obokwel, and from Obo we went to Akrodie in Gosu area, and then to Hacho in Hacho area, and then to Etimetim in New Tafo area, now Old Tafo, and then we ended at Fiapre in Sunyani area. So
Oh.
he's been around. My dad is mate with the current chairman and Apostle Jimmy Markin. They were all ministry mates.
I think I
Back
heard that. Yeah. Oh
back
wow.
back in the day. So he's been around for a minute. Yeah, but now they are
So he's a
retired and
92
joining
badge? Wait, no, 91 badge.
91.
91.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's
yeah.
Nice.
nice. Then those were a lot of how many stations? Eight or seven or
hmm
eight?
Seven.
In
About
our
7.
Royal. 7 or 8. Okay. So you're a PK. You've just talked about where you all were, the different stations. Now, getting into your life personally, we know you as a singer.
hmm
If that's for lack of
Yeah.
better term, a singer. When did you notice that you could sing? At what point did you notice you could sing?
Mm, I don't really remember. I mean, I won't lie to you. I know it's a cliche. People will say it started when I was young, and maybe it started when I was young, but where
Send
I
all
can
your
really
bunny. It's not no one. Oh, wait.
And
no
did
no no like
wait, Elder, did you start singing in the church or at school? Well, a lot of people say
so
they started in the church.
I started at school.
Trumpet.
That's what I'm saying. So I maybe the passion was there, the love was there, but where I can really trace it to was in JHS. Back then in I went to Pentecost preparatory school, Pentecost JSS in
Gang,
Oh,
gang,
Abrofo.
gang, 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 gang. PPS in the
Oh,
building.
and I'm telling you, see one day I think I'm thinking of a podcast too, maybe to address some of these issues. But one day, one of the topics I really want to talk about is the influence of missions schools in
Okay.
education and in our social life, like why churches have to set up schools and hospitals and everything. Because in some of these institutions you do devotions. I remember in PPS whether you're a Muslim or whatever, there were times we're doing fasting. Like
the
that
last
day,
Friday of every month.
you remember? Oh,
We do
yeah, you remember,
fasting.
right? You
We
remember,
don't
right?
eat anything. They close the whole cafeteria. There, nobody goes to the vendors. Nobody buys anything.
I'm telling you.
And then we pray at noon, and then we eat lunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
See. So
wait,
that. Oh, Charlie.
No, hold on. As a South woman, you guys have to get together and go and bless PPS because the way all of you have gone there,
I know, right?
you guys have to do a donation to them.
As for PPS,
I think PPS has really hosted a lot of us.
Yeah.
In Kumasi, I don't know. I know there are PPS in Takoradi and PKs in all these other places will testify of PPS. I think it's a wholesome mission program they did for education. That's why I'm saying maybe one day we need to talk about it. So for music, I mean, asking where it started, those days when we used to do these devotions and all that, I would lead some of these songs. We're a group of guys. I mean, I remember Adoba Dams, Kwame Amponsentry. There are a couple of us who were also like PKs and a few elders, kids, and members. But I remember these guys because they were also PKs. And we used to sing. We used to sing like so in a place of worship. I remember some of the songs. Those songs,
it's very like electric, like the goosebumps that you
see,
feel it. And when they start singing the song, all the kids, like you can hear everybody, like, oh my God.
Charlie, I miss PPS. PPS. Yeah. So for me, that's where I can really trace it to. Then we were kids, so let me digress because if I don't say this, is not related. But on missions and its effect, do you know that we have some Muslim students who are now like converted and they are Church of Pentecost members because they attended. Yeah, I just needed to add that one. Yeah. Then we were kids and we're not really committed and giving to God like that. We were just PK. So along the line from JHS, I remember when I went to Prempeh College, which is actually the best second cycle institution in the whole of West Africa.
Why are you rolling your eyes?
Prempeh College. Oh, Irade. So Prempeh College, Anka. Hey.
Wait, but Braa Kwaku, they said Prempeh for Omunte Brofosa. Is it true?
I mean, see, I'll proudly.
So
I think it's good you bring it up. Whether we know how to speak English or whatever, you see, so I would have been sad because we are in Ghana. I mean, look at China. They do all these
propaganda.
I'm telling you.
So if it is,
it's a good school. That was his point.
I just let it slide. But if we are going to go, argumentative, I mean,
he says he went to the best school in Ghana.
Let's
please.
keep it at that. If you bring in
I thought also best school not because I see a pojo ba.
But said this is his opinion. Yeah, we have to respect everybody's opinion.
This is certified, widely acclaimed, approved. But I mean, let's leave it at that. So when I went to Prempeh College, I had the privilege of joining a group called Gospel Singers, which was the SU, the singing wing of SU. And again, Prempeh College SU. So, see, my spiritual life, I can say for a fact, my real spiritual life, though I was a PK, my spiritual life.
What's your real spiritual life?
I'm telling you, like the Genesis.
Well, he became born again. The born again with.
I mean, I but being born again and confessing Christ, I think I did it about 7 times before. I did about 6. Oh, Charlie.
Into your final one was in when you reached SU.
Yeah, my final was, I think, later part of Prempeh College when we were,
We,
because then we had done all the other things and we are like, oh
Who
Charlie,
did you say at the final one? Because no one control what.
Charlie, boys did things so Prempeh. I mean, it wasn't out and out like being bad, but there's that era of being a teen where,
Mhm.
because I never dated and never had a girlfriend. Do you know I never dated anybody till after university? Like girlfriend, yeah, cause it would be girlfriend, yeah. That was even after university, like when yeah. So I wasn't an out and out bad guy, but I mean, you bet you shy, you be free school near St. Roses, Kakra, near Co, site Kakra, near this. So but I brought the passion from music. Let's stay on the topic. I brought the passion.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there, But my final Irade, me Judy sir. Me one I mean, when I really gave my life to Christ was in Prempeh. That's why I'm saying that the genesis of my spiritual journey started in Prempeh. Now in SU, there was this brother called Clifford. Fortunately, he's also a PK. Clifford Darkun. We met a lot of them, and back then, I think there was this bond. I think we need to bring this thing back. You know, I'm not saying that if you're an elder's kid or an officer's kid in general, um, you don't really matter or that. But even in the Bible, it's given to Aaron and his children. Like it's something. That's what I'm saying. It's a privilege calling. And for we the PKs, whenever we go to Easter conventions, and it was like a family. So when you go to PPS, we are friends. But I mean, Adoba was my friend. He was a PK. Kwame Amponsan was my friend back then. Like we have friends, but you could see that Asofo Mano had a certain level of extra, friendship. I would trek from Suntresu to New Tafo Mission House, New Tafo District Mission House, just to vibe and play with, Adoba or who back then. So when I got to Prempeh, there was already that network of Asofo and some of them were I got my in quotes school nickname from because one of my brothers, Osofuba, was the then chaplain. So, hey, Ochapi Bano. So they started calling me Ochapi. And typically, Ochapi is chapel's prefect. But because of those things, yeah. So when we met these brothers who were already in ministry and with a passion, I started as a praise and worship leader in Prempeh. And usually it wasn't the thing that a Form 1 guy will come in. They leave it for the Form 3s. You have to grow. But I was fortunate that I started singing. It built my confidence. I started singing right from Form 1, leading praise up to Form 3. That was the birthing of my ministry, my praise and worship ministry. And then I do poetry, so I can add that because it's ministry. Um, I also had a passion of writing poems and everything. And then I had some seniors who would come to me. I don't know. We had this notice board where you could just do anything. You draw and paste it. It was like for anything, any creativity you have. They had this big notice board. So every week, students can write poems and go and paste it there. Those who can draw. And I used to write poems, love poems, those days. So
Wait,
it
so
cost
Elder, it started as love poems.
It started as love poems. Male cast and male
Interesting.
love poems. Oh, Charlie. And then I
And
used
more
so
poems are in the
And you hold on,
yeah.
Valentine's Day is coming, so you can make a business out of it.
Do you know I used to write poems for my seniors in their letters to their girlfriends, but so that was a thing, and so I was kind of a favorite for most of the
Boys,
seniors who
boys, I
who
have
used to write
fraud, me
letters.
macho fraud.
Yeah. So the ministry of singing and writing poems was from Prempeh College. Now I don't want to belabor that the whole point. And then growing from there to university, I had the opportunity to fellowship with Pensa Ligon, and then I entered their literary department. Acted a few times on their stages with. I mean, the high point for my ministry in PLS was playing the lead role, and that was in National Theatre. That's like the nation's Wembley, they call it National Theatre. That's uh, Pensa Ligon hosted a program. I used to do poetry for them, acting and singing, leading praises at church service, also in Pensa Ligon. And then after university, ministry really boomed along. But then along the line, as I go through these schools, daddy and mommy were there to provide the real spiritual nurturing for me. So ministry started for me through school, but whenever I had a chance to come home, daddy was there too. Because I remember the first day I preached in church, I was informed to. I remember I had come home, and daddy is. We go to devotion. So this is my dad, typical. We go to devotion, we pray, opening prayer, everything, and then it's like, Fred, you are going to give us the word. Unprepared, he will not give you heads up. So come and preach anything. But this is my dad. If you preach that, sorry, I'm not saying he is. I'm just trying to say, if you preach that bonsam ye, right, controversial, which is it might be heresy, whatever. My dad will find a way to bring something positive out of the message you preached, and so he kind of embellishes it and presents it back to us. That was a good training grounds for us, especially for presenting sermon. And even up to this day, most of the sermons that I've preached, I didn't. I mean, that sermons that I'll put notes and write notes and prepare to go and preach. God does his thing. But whenever I have to be spontaneous, the first time my wife saw me preach was because the whole night was, hey, now I'm prepared. Like, won't prepare. Are you not going to prepare? What? And that is how we were nurtured. So typically, the first time I preached, I think it was after devotion. One of those days, Gideon give us a word. I gave the word. He didn't say anything. Then we go to church. So devotion was on Saturday morning. We go to church on Sunday. He was to preach, and he calls me to preach that same word. Tells me preach that same word. And that day,
Pressure.
Big
that day
ups
was
to
something
Big
else.
Pops, man.
Yeah. So I mean, the gifts and the passion was there, but as I'm saying, the nurturing, taking you through the rudiments came definitely from him. Yeah.
So then you have a ministry. Obviously, we can all attest and see that you have a ministry. At a young age, did you have an inkling that okay, maybe I will enter ministry? And did you have an idea of what it would look like? What you maybe thought it was before? Is that what you're seeing now? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I always knew that I loved it. I mean, no, I didn't think about it. I'm that person you ask me. I always joke about it that when they say Usa, you say, oh, then I'll be, you say, oh, may pilot, oh, may you say, Ubisamia, me niche. I just want to do well, So ministry, singing, whatever that I'm doing now, I didn't premeditate it. I didn't think about it for a second, but I just loved it. So for me, typically, singing, apart from the platforms that I got at school, when I come home, I started with playing drums, and almost every PK would learn something, how to
Yeah.
play something. So I started playing drums, and then it translated into playing the bass guitar. But this is what I would do when people are singing, because back then in Kumasi, Kweku Jesi was booming, Mama Esther was booming, and along the line, oh, there's this, oh, Mira Finidi, not Bremen. Uh,
Francis Esumedu.
Francis Asumedu came up, young guy. So those were like JHS days when we were coming up. And when we go for these conventions, Easter conventions, these guys are singing, and I'm sitting back, just soaking everything in. So in church, I was singing at school and all that. I mean, but school, there will be a to be. But I'll be singing at the back. And I love it when somebody is leading and I'm doing the Matison Lobby of Blessed Memories kind of thing.
Mm.
I want you to sing, then I'll come in with the ad libs, trying to embellish it. So usually when we sit at the convention grounds at the back and they are singing, I'm singing my own. Like my friends would be like, "Oh, Chalo, to your own," So. But I never had the chance. Again, my dad, my papa, bit me, I say, "Oh, me bane to your mama and to you." So he really did well. Especially, I remember one time when we were in Medina, he would say, "Obe true din," because obe true din said, "Me bane to you, mama, mama also to you."
That's actually one of the questions I had. Did you ever receive from people, "Oh, or yourself ba enunti na ebia yaman a platform," or is that like did they ever use your title as a PK as a reason as to why you got so far in this ministry?
If they said, maybe I didn't hear it,
Mm.
and I doubt they said it because, by the grace of God, anytime, I mean, trust me, I actually had encouragement from people, even more. So he would say me banetunium, but when I go, I don't, in quotes, let it fall down. I don't fall his hand by the grace of
Mm.
God. So
Enti unkwa papa mani na unkwa na otonyom.
yeah, I have some of my brothers, but one was doing rap. I don't because we want him to bring it home, but he started something. I can rap too. I have a few rap lines. And what's
Hey,
that was yesu
Wait,
what's
do
up
you
and
want
I
to
say
drop?
me to
Oh,
to me
keep going.
what's when we share mu biara say me you why me
Mm.
count for me sound so that was say oh irade me oh man, I can
But
drop bars upon bars up, yeah, but
I was here link
um
up. I saw about the true about here link up. Many of me say me really see. Me pa try video for that say about otonyom.
hey A, AQ I saw from my your raps.
Eh? Cube. Eje ekube o. Eje ekube.
yeah, wait.
Ekube, oh Charlie. Yeah, but my dad gave me the platforms a few times. I mean, as we go along, I can tell you about the challenges that it came with too. But that was not from people saying because he's a PK, that's why he had a platform. Actually, when I was saying, I'll have the elders say, "Oh, Charlie, you're a blessing. Keep on blessing us. Like keep on doing it." Maybe at the point it got into my head, so I was not paying attention to the spiritual aspect, because I know that Okwa, in Gen Z terms, they always say, "Oh, wako killing no." I was killing it. And, back then I was killing. I mean, imagine that I was that young and I started having opportunities to sing at Easter conventions, and you are ministering at Easter conventions, and all these apostles and pastors are up on their feet, worshiping and dance. So for the gift and the part, I was killing it and the Nyaminti. But youthful exuberance, even after my final iradi, whatever, it still got, into our heads sometimes till we started becoming very, very serious with this thing. So I did, back to the first question, I didn't know that it was going to be like this. But from from school, you have the platform, you do it. Then from church, you have the platform, let's say from your local, because I didn't start from the district. Definitely, maybe um, Sunday school, maybe Sunday school too. I had the opportunity to lead, we had a Sunday school choir, and it wasn't because I was a PK. I just took the opportunity, sang a few times. So I would say this, there are graces and levels to growing in ministry, and it will definitely have to start from somewhere. Even for Christ's commission, he gave them where the roadmap, you start from Jerusalem, you go through Judea to Samaria, there's a roadmap. So definitely have to start from somewhere. I always say that my biggest platform is my next platform. So yesterday I ministered to a crowd of 50,000, and tomorrow I'm going to meet a group of five. I will not refer to the 50,000 as my biggest. My biggest platform is the next platform, the five people I'm going to meet. That is
Mm.
my biggest platform. But yeah, I didn't know it was going to be like this by the grace of God through ministry. The first time I sat in a plane, aeroplane, semi plane that we see baby, was through ministry. So
I don't call him. If I say who maybe I'll call him.
I think the first time was to Kumasi. That was Luca. Luca, and then Luca.
Africa world, another passing.
African world, yeah, passing there. When say passing, no, it will reignite the mission, the ministry in you, because also the tons. Echo, take off and landing now, yeah. Rabbi Shoke Bara, because Massa. But someone he's now also into ministry. Albert Amwa, he's the national head for Georgia. Met me ministering sometime. One time, I went to a program, ministered. He was there, and they were going to have a youth conference. That time Dubai was now bubbling, and he was the national youth leader. Long story short, he had me um, on the bill. Last minute, did arrangement, hosted me for a month and 2 weeks. Just
in Dubai.
Dubai.
Hey,
A
mama.
month and 2 weeks in 2 weeks. Near tour near Fahana. Oh, Charlie. Yeah,
That was
Ministry
beautiful.
there, ministry
yeah,
there.
yeah. So, and even now, it has become sometimes we have to think back to when the Bible says remember your first love. It's not that you were doing something and you stop doing it and doing something else. But sometimes I think we get so used to it. But maybe remember your first love is like remember the fervor, the passion, which you used to do the things you are doing now. Now you become used to it. So to say, bra Virginia near trauma, bra you near trauma, so you are used to it. I
No,
mean, typically,
you just take it
no
lightly.
funny try, but
Oh,
now
that
we
point brings
see.
up a good question that I'll ask at the end, actually. But continue.
Yeah, so now this is where we are. If you ask that, did I envisage that it's going to be like this? No, but this is how far the Lord has brought us. One of the um, things God gives us to call is Ebenezer in His name, Ebenezer. It's always a point for you to reflect. I love reflecting, to pause and say, Ebenezer, that's how far the Lord has brought us. One thing about me, I love fantasizing. In my mind, I've been the president of America before. In my mind, I've been, because that's a safe place to think whatever you want to be. In
Hmm.
my mind, I've been the president of Ghana before. And I love those places where I'm quiet and I'm thinking, like I'm seeing pictures, mental pictures of me as a president, how I'll be treated. When so
Fixing the country.
fixing the country, I
But
possessing
I'm
the.
fancy here. Yeah. Hold on. I don't want any problems.
But now I know that this is truly something that God wanted me to do. And through all the mazes of life where I went to, through school, writing love poems, now I'm writing love poems to my Lord, the lover of my soul, and all that. So, all the ups and downs, now I can. So, when I take a retrospective look, now I can say that this is what the Lord wanted me to do, you know.
Hey fam, we're back with another one of our sponsors. Suya Lab is one of our faithful, great sponsors that we have. They are the people to hit up for your suya chicken, suya beef, jollof, and many other things. They do cater, they do travel, so be sure to hit them up if you have an event coming up, a church event, an outdooring, a wedding, and they will treat you right. Make sure to tell them that the PK Pod sent you. Let's get back to our conversation. Now, I want us to also you hit on a very important aspect, which was the influence, at least, or the support of your parents.
Mm,
And so, speaking to ministers and their wives, in terms of their relationship with the children, we see that even what your father did for you, it even helped build your confidence
mhm.
in the gift that you had. What is it that you would want to say to our ministers and our dads and our moms when it comes to pushing and supporting the gifts that are in your children? Because at times I feel like some of the children feel like their parents are so focused on their ministries that
Oh,
even the gifting that is in their child maybe it's not coming out. You get it?
yeah.
So what can they do to help?
Wow, man. I think you have to go back to scripture and let's. if you have the gifts, if you are the child and you see that you have the gifts, maybe, especially if your dad is in charge of a district, because a district minister, definitely he has locals. You, I don't want it to be them. It has to be because it's your ministry. They can help. What about the other ministers who are not PKs? So when it comes to ministry, identify your grounds, start serving, and maybe along the line, because this my dad who was supporting and giving me platforms at the point was also opposing me going for programs. I'll tell you, maybe that will come later. It became argumentative. Sometimes he would say harsh words when I have to tell him that, oh, dad, many invites me co program. There was that time too in my life. There was a phase in my life after university. I stayed home for about 5 years, no work, fixing the country. Yeah.
And then
So
also Yana program.
so I resorted to, after a couple of tries with work and I resorted to ministry, and my dad, it was he look at he taking care of us through school, and he was fixated on us working like YBB ministry. So at the point it used to flare him up, and but for support, don't count on man, whether he's a pastor or don't count on your parents. Don't count on. I didn't count on my parents. My parents only helped along the line. And as Mordecai told Esther, if they hadn't, perhaps God would have used other people to push the ministry. So if you believe that you have the calling, don't cloud for stage because your dad is the pastor or your mom is the. Don't cloud for it. No. At best, even stay back. Let them do it. Let them do it. Find, like, you are in a local church. Thank God in Pentecost, you can write your name and say, I want to sing in most of our locals. So you don't even need your past. You can just, in Church of Pentecost, it is that simple. You can just write your name and say, I want to sing. Keep singing for years in your local. Maybe God gave you your local to sing. But God is progressive. But I'm saying that even if you have to stay in your local, just local, stay there. God gave James a ministry based in Jerusalem, a great apostle of the church, and also gave Paul, another great apostle of the church, ministry worldwide, where he was going to Macedonia and Galatia and all that. They are all apostles. They know their scope. And so don't count on one thing. I'm trying to turn it around and say that we don't need our parents' approval or support, push. If they give it, fine. And sometimes the parents can even push you, and you are not up to that level. As I'm saying, maybe you are supposed to stay in Jerusalem for some time before you go to Samaria. But because your dad is the pastor, he will place you, on a district program or an East area program. And also, wow, will push you. And then you go and maybe mess it up some way, somehow, because of the level. And that can even dampen your spirit. So grow through the levels, grow through the rank. I was for some time leading praise and worship in my local church for years, like I think about 3 years, every Sunday. So in Prempeh College, back to Prempeh College, from Form 1 to Form 3, I was leading praise and worship every blessed Sunday. That was a platform to grow. But when I go home and these other young ministers and those ministers who are taking the lead were there, I wasn't going to say, oh, because I sing in school. So I wasn't clamoring for platforms, for stage. I will not tell my dad that I sing. So dad, put me there. But if you give me the chance, all the years that, or all the months and the weeks that I've done, rehearsed or sung somewhere else, I'll bring it here and kill it. So you too, when they give you the platform, kill it. Make sure you kill it. By the grace of God, kill it. I'm just
You
using
know,
Jersey.
I
Yeah,
want to address this, right? Especially even in the US here. I'm thinking about
I'm
our
new to the US
Pensa,
system, so
yeah, the Pensa stuff. You know, sometimes we're like, oh, why are they using these people? Only these people are the ones being used. And then you're like, oh, they should give us the platform. I mean,
okay,
you see where this is going, right?
okay.
That wherever you are, wherever, if you're in California, if you're in Idaho, if you're in Massachusetts, wherever you
What are
are,
some of
right?
the gray areas?
I
Is
know
Oregon far?
it's very far away.
North Dakota, South Dakota. Those.
Yeah. And you think you're not getting the platform, whatever, right? And you feel like you're good, right? But you have to grind and be faithful in the place that God has placed you.
Mm,
When the right time comes, God Himself will elevate you. It's
trust
the
me.
same thing you're saying. You know,
Trust me.
sometimes a lot of people are, oh, my dad is this, blah, blah, blah. And I want to be on the drums because my grandfather or my
No.
dad or my uncle is, I want to be part of the singers because we are singing, we're doing this and we want inclusion and all that kind of stuff. I could say, right, before recently I was sharing with my wife that, oh my days, this social media thing, like we're doing, right? I forgot that I used to do it in when nobody knew who Otuo was, right? Like, I'm not even saying to do it, like in Springfield, Springfield, Massachusetts, when nothing, right?
Way back.
I was
Wait,
doing
didn't you
Instagram.
have a video on how to make fufu okra? Was it
Hey,
you? It's
Masa,
him.
Otuo
everybody
Baby.
can beg you what? If you see the things
Otuo
we have done, right? And then,
Baby.
Masa, so you move.
Before there was sweet Ajele, there was David Enchi.
Oh wow.
Yo, I used to do videos of college, like vlogging, like a whole bunch, and like interviews, all these things, right?
Oh really?
And then, yeah, I used to do all of this video. Like, I literally used to do all these things, but there was nobody knew. But then the consistency, the persistence. I moved to Virginia. Somebody says, Otuo Beyama. And then I just did it, and then boom. Now, Washington region, Pensa, they're like, I'm gonna be the whatever guy to help with their publicity. Boom, we do this, we make videos, new style, whatever. And I'm there, I'm
Mm,
like, I don't even know how
mm,
this is happening. And then all
mm.
of a sudden, they say they have a new youth and Pensa directorate. They need people. There's pam, 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 pam. See?
You actually you cannot trace if you want to trace how you grow. I mean, if you are asking any minister, how did you get here? If you can trace it, it's good to trace it, but
Yeah.
as
If you can
you
trace you planning it to be where you are, then it's, I don't
there's
know,
something.
there's
Yeah.
something. But it's always that,
It always has to be a retrospective look when you look
yes,
back and say,
you have
oh,
to look back and be like, oh, wait, really? Oh.
ah,
And
That's
so
where
then
this is the doing of the Lord.
this
That
is
that
the doing of the Lord. It
that
busts
part
your
comes
brain.
in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I understand. I think what you're saying is very true. That you do
you
not
don't need your
depend
parents.
exactly.
You don't need
And
them.
if God is going to bless you, God is going to bless you. Like Hophni and Phinehas, they thought they had the leeway to do whatever they want because of their dad, the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Eli. So they could come and do whatever they want because they thought, oh, they had the priestly whatever
Sorry.
lineage in their house or whatever. And God just took it away from
Snap
them.
them. Yeah.
So
Give it to someone, cry.
mhm,
You know,
in as
so
much as we want our parents to support, we do not want them to misplace us where God has not,
yeah.
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 intention for us.
And
But I think that's good.
it'll come along. You see, when they now see that you've grown, you are matured, I mean, you've been tried and tested at a certain level. So in 2018, one of my breakthroughs, I mean, I can use this platform to also thank a few people who have brought us this far. Talking about the fathers giving us, even on this one, I want to broaden it and say the fathers, not just my father as a PK, the platforms they gave us. So in 2018, for since 2013, I've had the privilege to be with Voice of Pentecost, which records the annual theme songs of the church. My dad didn't call anybody that my son can sing, so put him there. I grew through the maze and I got there. Now, so since 2013, we've been with Voice of Pentecost, and there was this Global Ministers Conference. That was the first Global Ministers Conference where every minister and wife of the Church of Pentecost had gathered at PCC. Big platform, very huge platform.
It doesn't get any bigger than that.
Like apostles, College of Apostles and Prophets, and all the ministers, including, so it was big. And then those were the times, as I was saying, I wasn't working. So, Papa said, "Oh, that program way," and he would be furious. And you have to be focused. At this point, there's ministry and there's work, and that was a fatherhood. It was out of love, maybe tough love or something. So, a whole lot of arguments. It was stressful, but I stood my grounds, believed in what I carried, and went. So we'll go for rehearsals. Rehearsals, Voice of Pentecost. Then, Master. And then 2018, by the grace of God, because I also do poetry, at this conference, they wanted a poetic, ministration, something to open up a series of other ministrations. And I happened to be there at the right time. All the years of practicing and writing love poems. Hannah, it was a money show, right? So by the grace of God, through the instrumentality of the leaders, Apostle Ango Dems, I think those days Apostle Ango, Che Bote, Clifford Darkon, and some of the pastors who were in charge, Fred Amwako. We had pastors, we have the music department, so full of pastors and other. They said, "Oh, Kwaku, over to my poetry kakra I hadn't written anything, I hadn't planned anything. Hey, now platform in my poetry. So my trade be crowd at that. So my trade be I have something that will work. And God being so good. And as I'm saying, and up till then, and even beyond that, that has been one of my biggest platforms. I won't joke. Platform no ofra who's a wechi I do. Because no, like literally, we've seen ministers who've climbed that platform and they mess up. You can be anointed and everything, but sometimes God has to give you the grace to stand on certain places. And yet, ministers from other churches, leaders from this is international conference. And then I have the opportunity. I minister. Sometime now, Apostle Pukin, the chairman, go up there, minister in poetry and song. Before I realized, the whole congregation, we're yet members, a congregation of ministers,
College of Apostles and Prophets,
up on their feet, worshiping, some crying. The highlight of the point was when I heard, back then, Opi had a mic. When I heard this man's voice singing behind me, now I was seeing Gume.
Serious.
And do you know that through this ministry now, and in that conference, my dad was there. So after the conference, Yapon PCC, and then I went for my dad's bag to accompany him to his room. Now, when we meet these pastors, they are like, "Oh, Kwaku, nyami shop, huh?" And now I am introducing, "Oh, me Papa Nyo." And my dad was proud. Oh, so when I say, "Oh, me banano," he will say, "Oh, yeah, me banano, me banano." Like. I mean, God being so good. So then it was through this ministration that I met now Chairman Apostle Nyameche. Called my dad. Apostle Nyameche called my dad, took my number and called me. Spoke to me. Yeah, someone in my kind and spoke to me and started mentoring me from there.
Yeah.
It was through this relationship with the fathers that I got. And now I got a job in Ghana Prison Service. Ejumana and Papa who say, get a job. Now, when I dedicated myself to ministry and was doing this consistently, I became a senior officer of Ghana Prison Service.
Wow,
Just like
glory.
that. Through, so the fathers will give you the platform when they see that you have grown, when you've matured, when you can handle it. But you now, keep on grinding, and God will open up the.
This is like a David, in the wilderness, no. You hear what Jumana after ye pobi. Okra say beg by where the kanya place you say. Also, you don't know what was about travel boys said the alcohol. And also me change the nam di
Yesterday.
No, but I wanna get a little controversial. My question will sound a little controversial. It's not intentional. I want to say. Hey fam, we want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, which is Kumasi Supermarket. Kumasi Supermarket is located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they are your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs and African produce. You can get yams, plantains, shito, fufu, whatever you're looking for. All your African snacks that you're even looking for, you can buy with them. Also, another great thing is you can shop with them online from anywhere within the US and outside. So please be sure to follow the link in our bio and follow them on all social media platforms. Let's get back to our conversation. Okay, so I think in our in the Christian community at least, there's this notion that instrumentalists, any musicians, they love to minister, but they love to minister for money, right? And to be very real, for money be a casa group in the whole of instrumentalists and musicians. As to whether they want money, I'm not in anyone's heart to know what is leading their motive. Let me say it like that.
Mhm.
In your season or in the wilderness time, were you even tempted slightly to make this like a business almost? Or did you keep in mind that this is a gift that God has given you and you are going to keep it at that, not turn it into a business? And then how would you advise others who maybe have that motive set, this is my gift, but you must also pay me for my gift? Yes. No, and I have a reason why I'm
I'm in a
asking
fix.
this.
I mean, it's a great question. I didn't think you were gonna do that, but anyways, I love that you did.
I'm in a fix, but so back to my wilderness times. I wasn't working, so I would appreciate anything you give me. And those were times that I was getting calls because of the ministry is quite unique. Hardly will you see a lot of people doing poetry and worship. So it gave me a lot of platforms. Now, one of these things for upcoming ministers or even in the whole industry is exploitation. So you want the platform and they also want something, So for me, I think because it was something of a passion, I wasn't thinking, let me use it carefully, I wasn't thinking of money, and which has helped me. I mean, there's been times that let me give two instances. So one time I went for a program, the person called, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. I didn't call for anything. Yeah, Penco say into the let me hold it. Cut this one. Cut this one. Yeah, but so one time I went for a program. I can say this. I went for a program and I had to those who know Ghana very well, I had to alight at Shiashi. My program require my phone they do me bedroom and me see Shiashi because all that I had on me could get me that far to Shiashi. Meanwhile, I was going to Hacho. I could have told the mate, said, "Oh, maybe a mate, Charlie Missy Council." I mean, but I found it to be, you know, thought I'd be also tongue yari and people do that.
You are just
Yes.
prideful. I mean,
Yeah, but I wasn't ready for that whole,
oh,
maybe
now Mrs. Shed out this car or
even then I wasn't too. I mean, even now, but
yeah.
I wasn't ready for the whole embarrassment of maybe he might flip on me and say, "Hey," all that. So
Yeah.
I just decided, and this was after a program somebody had promised, one of the biggest churches in Ghana, right? That's why one of the biggest churches, and I had ministered powerfully. Praise be to God. Me real program no, me no invite so full. Obechia me kwatena ase no. Oh, kwa frame when you're ready to leave, call me and all that. Me ye ready say me call me friend. And be seen and obe from me caller. I don't know. So the little I had on me, I had to drop at Shiashi. My phone was off. I had to put earpiece in my ears and do like I'm singing, I'm listening to music. Trek from Shiashi to Hachu. All for the joy of the work. We're not doing it because we want to be paid. At a point, I mean, I don't know how ministers bargain for. I don't know how they do it, but for me, usually, I'm not trying to sell myself short because I mean, I hardly bargain. I hardly say, "Mommy say, member." No, I don't remember saying that. It didn't become like me year for business. No, it was really passion. On the flip side, I don't really want to go to the flip side because that has not been how I've operated. So maybe in your PKB and any minister who has also been on the flip side, which I also don't want to play neutral, say, dear Modebemo because sometimes and Shani,
But
sometimes what
they're okay. Made me feel sad. I think that it's always a time that God tests you and your character and what you place first. Right now, I don't think anybody will come and say, "Come do this," and they will not honor you,
Honor you
as we
well,
say,
yeah.
honorarium, right?
at this
They will
point
not, and at this point, no,
we
because
don't
you've been
we
faithful. God will
yes.
test you and see, said, is it because imagine if you call the pastor and they were not picking, and you're like, now so and you created a scene. That is it.
Rant on
Yes,
Facebook, call
yes.
names.
Because somebody can, yes. Some people go to Facebook and Some people do whatever they need to do. Now you are trying to, put the gifts over the gifter, right? The one who gave you the gift, the one who has
Hey,
given you that for which you
Han,
should be able
Han,
to use.
Han in
You are telling,
there is
because
Han in the
listen,
conversation. Unia, I don't know. I can try now. My fans will win. The gift over the gifter. I know a thing.
bah, nana.
Yo,
you know,
Charlie.
and that's the issue, that some people who actually put money first, you can see the limitations of where they go to. You can see the limitations. And those that don't put money on it, they don't put a price on it, God just does his wonderful stuff.
I'm telling you.
Can I?
Again, for my ministry, I mean, I have a few productions out there, right? So on the other side, there's the showbiz part of it, where there are musicians who are always churning out, like every year they are churning out productions, um, doing music videos. They have to go to studio, pay for studio time. So some people come along that line, and others come along the ministry, where they might not even have any song out. I'm just using a general a minister like Kwekute.
You know that he was the same person I was thinking about too.
He doesn't have any production out yet. I mean, he
Mhm.
might have a few, but it's not like, so he is minister. He always comes onto the stage and minister, or like he makes appearances usually doing the live ministrations. There are others who come as artists, like showbiz artists, who have to go to the studio, do albums, and those ones are financially, they need financial investment. So if you are going to call like Auntie Dinah, who is also a PK,
Yeah.
hopefully one of these days you'll get her on this show to talk about this, and give us in depth. But even for her, I'm sure she'll tell about the days where those dry days, and it pays off. So for me, what has worked for me has been staying faithful to the calling, the passion over the money. It doesn't make business sense. I mean, this thing, if you bring it to, I was asked this a couple of times when I go for interviews, in mainstream media. And so are you saying that, and they'll try to flip on you. So are you saying that you don't want money? That's why the gospel is not growing? And, they try to, let you say something. But I always say that this is what has worked for me. And that is why now I'm sitting before you that you are interviewing me. It doesn't make me any less than the one who charged. I mean, these are platforms that they were giving us, on back in the days, back in Ghana. So stay, Charlie, know what you're about. But for me, what has worked for me is putting the gifts and the passion first.
Oh, the reason why I asked you this question, so there's nothing
Did you
wrong. I
say
do
elder?
think yes. So we are elder, and
Hey!
throwing that one in there, and also can't ministry no. He's in the ministry of an elder. But the reason why I asked you this is obviously, yes, I believe that we need to honor our instrumentalists and our musicians. And so that's something I wanted to shed light on. But this is like something that happened. I just
Okay.
wanted to pick your mind because I was in Ghana, I want to say 2022. And there was an organization, it wasn't even a church, that was doing a program, and they were looking for a musician, and they reached
Okay.
out to someone before reaching out to you, and the person wasn't happy with the amount that they got. And I knew because behind the scenes I knew what was going on, and they reached out to you, and joyfully you came and you ministered so powerfully. But when they even looked at where you were coming from, like home, to travel to that place, and you just did everything, like I know, like from then I knew that this man does everything out of passion.
I know about that
But I also
program.
want,
What I
you
want to
know
know is
about
the one they wanted to invite before they called you.
no, 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 no. I don't want any problem. But for me, that was the at least I got to see, like, no, this is a genuine, even not to say the person wasn't genuine, but you like at least seeing how you handled that situation, like you do things out of passion. So I just wanted to also kind of give the
Oh,
opportunity for
oh,
the
oh,
public
oh.
to see that. So God
Thank
bless
you,
you.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that program.
No, but it was
But
nice.
behind the scene, you have to let me know who they were trying to call
I know
before they
the
called
other.
you.
I'm not going to do that. I can't.
Hey, Nipa ni
I
bi e
can't.
cobra. Nipa
Let
ni
me
bi-
go.
I
Oh
can't.
yeah, I mean,
No, but I know we're running out of time. But another thing I want to highlight is your creativity. It's different. When you see it in the church, in the poetry. I hope we can insert the clip. You did this was, I forget what the program is called, the Pentecostal program, but you were in a rocking chair with the old TV. You sang a song and you
yeah,
did your poetry. What
yeah.
was that? Was it Pentecost tunes?
Pen-
Something like
Pentecostal
Yeah,
tunes, yeah.
yeah,
By
yeah,
yeah.
yes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's this gentleman called Asari who started this movement. Yeah, so that is, I think,
So
because of
how
my
did you become so, like, how did you, what, I don't even know if I can say how did you incorporate like creativity into it, but yeah, like where does the creativity come from? And yeah, kind of talk about that for us.
that is well, I think it's harnessing every gift that the Lord has given you. One, I mean, I have a book on Amazon. I wrote a book.
You're an
I have a
author?
note. Yeah, I'm an author. I have a book selling on Amazon and
Oh.
all these digital platforms.
Me
I wrote
up,
the book in
me.
I wrote the book in 2012. But
Hey,
I'm
Oh, the
I'm not
Niyama
prof.
yes, yo.
never
Because like,
see
yeah.
Yeah, and which was So this creativity, you're talking about creativity.
Yeah.
I believe that God has given us gifts, diverse gifts. It could be dancing, it could be anything. And because of time, maybe when I have the platform on a bigger scale to expatiate on this, but so God gives the gifts, and then He channels it through everybody or anybody. Now it's up to you to use it to honor God or to serve as ministry. So we've seen writers. I don't know. I mean, the stands of Tyler Perry, but he's one person I've seen doing a lot of Christian themed movies. So for me, I think in reference to that particular program, even that day, I was not in a good place. I wrote that piece that you guys watched. I wrote it about 30 minutes to the program. So I didn't even get to memorize and say everything as I've written it. I'm telling you, that piece, Pentecostal, I still remember it. I wasn't in a good place. I was going through something, one of those issues of life. I got to the venue and then explained. So the guy wanted me to do an intro. I said, "Nah, let me sit as an old man."
So
Uh,
you thought of that whole concept. It was you.
yes, yes,
Wow.
yes. And there's been a lot of so maybe something I really need to hone and harness creativity. Directing scripts, writing scripts has been part of me, but I think that's one aspect of me I've not really paid attention to. It's by the grace of God, God has given us gifts. So it depends on how you channel it.
Hmm.
I write books. I MC. I do in Ghana we call it our our chame.
Hmm.
It came along because of you see when God wants to um bless you through your giftings. So it started with poetry. And then one time someone was like, "Bro, I'm going to get married. Oh, crowd, wanwati, the way I'll come poetry. Can you do the ochame for me? Can you be the linguist for my side of the family?" That was the first time I was going to do it, you
Wow.
know. And then I had to go to YouTube, learn a few other things. So it comes back to the point of you might be gifted, but add learning, add education to it. Not
Hmm.
just let it be the gift. But yeah, that's one thing God has blessed us with. Out of even that program, I was going to develop a program on one of these TV stations where it was going to be like the by the fireside. Back in the day in Ghana, we used to have a program by the fireside, but I was going to tell God or Christian themed stories. It could have been fictional or whatever, but I will narrate it poetically. So maybe it's something it's worth considering. And let me use this: we are in a platform of e-church. We are in a platform of um, internet. One of the biggest platforms God has given us is podcast, like PK podcast. Recently, I've been listening to By the Finer Side by Pastor Enoch. I can make reference to a couple of other Christian podcasts, you know, going around. This is a time that whatever you can do, you can put camera to it. So, provided it is glorifying God, you can just put camera to it and now bring it to a wider audience. You could dancers could just pick trending songs, trending gospel songs, and there were these guys. I think they're in Europe. I don't know. I don't know their name, but they'll pick these trending gospel songs. These three
Oh,
guys.
those guys.
I think, yeah, yeah.
And yeah.
They'll do,
And they picked one of these Yabwedu songs. So
Hmm.
like this is the age we have come to. That
Yeah.
whatever you can do, you can just put a camera to it.
digitalization of the gospel.
Of not the economy of the gospel, because you know people forget that the gospel is economy. Like just that God has already paid it with his blood. But it's a transaction. So yeah, digitalization of the economy of the gospel, whatever. But this is a good opportunity for us to
I'm gonna come with you.
No, honestly, look, your creativity is out of this world, I must say. And there was this one program, the way you took Pentecost songs, you added a Ron Canoli song that I wouldn't have even imagined, like being able to, like, I don't know if you've seen that ministration, but
Which
it
one?
was just like, this one was at Atomic, one of their conferences. Why can't I think of the song?
Come, let us praise.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember some praises. Be
Yeah.
Nobody can say no.
no,
Yes, and then
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
added
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then he took it to
That
Pentecost really quick. I was just
Yeah,
like,
and then
man.
yeah.
yo,
And so,
even
yeah.
Pesa, people were like, when you were doing the praise, and then you were doing the old time songs, and
Yeah.
then you were singing the praise, people were like, oh my days, like it was like they were like very, very
I don't know. Maybe
captivated
we
by
need a master's class on this, or maybe an
Oh,
impartation class.
mean I want to seriously I want to go to school. Me one day. I don't think I'm in a good place to teach right now. But
Hmm.
and thank God like sometimes we have people make reference to some of these things because for us maybe we do it on the spur of the moment. You know, Pensa. I remember the MD called me like, "Oh, you have rehearsals." So I went for rehearsals, went through a few songs, but I didn't do like half of the songs or like most of the songs I had even rehearsed. You know, I like the spur of the moment things because they are organic, they are
Spontaneous.
spiritual. Yeah.
yeah.
So, uh, yeah, but it's good that you make some of these references so that we put measures and make it work.
No,
Yeah, make
honestly,
it
you're a
work
gift to the
better.
kingdom. I just wanted to highlight that your
Praise
creativity,
God.
it's really a gift. So God bless you.
Praise God. Praise
Nobody
God.
can say no.
Nobody can.
Nobody can say.
Yeah, yeah,
That
Nobody
yeah,
can
praises.
yeah,
say no.
yeah.
I think
I
I think
remember
I
that.
was
I remember.
I was playing that praise set every day. I think my family cry got tired of me. Like every day, we say YouTuber.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, Charlie. We
It's
thank God for
good.
the fathers. I mean, they give us the platform. And again, back to PK and how our daddy's ministries affect us. Maybe if I wasn't a PK, maybe I wouldn't even have developed the passion then. God has a way of bringing the fathers, and it's like a continuum. You know, when you talk about Leviticus, it's a family set apart to be um to be in service to the Lord. So this is a clarion call to all PKs. It doesn't mean that pick a mic and start preaching as your father does, or you know, literally be in ministry like your father does. But
Mhm.
if you can dance, as I'm saying, or if you can act, these days we have social media influencers who just come on the space and address issues. They are humorous, they are funny, like with two of them, they yeah, there are people like that. Let's once you see that your dad is in ministry, tree teacher. I'm saying this in reference to tree teacher.
Honor.
You know,
Our people
hey,
support.
Wait, I have
Afrafanto,
my mono.
I
I have
have
my
my mono.
mono.
Guys,
You know,
it's okay. Yeah, Paul.
like me say, and no friend will say, Owura Otu, and you have a certain name that you
Teacher
know them.
Otuo. And I
Teacher,
Teacher, what would
you
you?
know, oh,
offer
hey,
Wafa.
Otuo.
Oh,
yeah.
who's that?
See,
Who's
see
that?
these.
That boy.
Let's encourage these things, and I'm saying whether your dad is in ministry or not, but especially for PKs, you don't want your father doing something and you just being like you don't have anything to. God has given you something, you
Mhm.
know. Harness it, pray to God. God will give you, and sometimes it might not be that all the PKs. Let's say you have siblings, right? So I have siblings who don't sing, who don't do anything. But
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, like, see, Martha ministry, you know, I think that we've not really talked. See, usually we talk about it and condemn. Yeah. We condemn. And Mary was sitting at
your program on my on my
also money be writing a serious.
It's serious.
Jesus Christ, our Lord.
Immediate.
Dear who Steph say, now no say me disturb dear who. Me say lie.
Steph dear who be a because Bakubia and I'm a professor.
Yeah, different play.
I wouldn't play with the
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Me Tana Bishia me your face, right? Me buy idea a selling mammy or your cocoa or your cocoa. A your cocoa. A your cocoa.
Oh.
And you go, I'm hearing them. That me who the first one did. That gay up for you could have date that.
Oh,
and on the very so.
I am ready. Charlie.
It's ministry.
There are diverse branches that we can harness and just use to support our parents' ministry.
Biblical help. And for fees say wrong. Yes, you cry. Oh, here miracle to feed the 5,000. Why ministry or the
or the Martha ministry? No,
Akrano Abodo and empata. It is a wound towards a fear. Very multiply towards a fear of 5,000.
But Yapon. Yapon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that you.
Everybody.
My friend, a table anointing. Or the upper bompire. We need table anointing and we need kappa.
We need kappa.
Table anointing, very key.
Very key.
Very key. Jesus was going to die on the cross. See, when you read the account of the gospel, Jesus was going to die on the cross. One of the significant things he did was to appear at a party that was hosted by Lazarus. Ufiho and Omeki other journeys, and then he entered into Jerusalem, and then he was going to die. But you say, I didn't go party. Master. Oh, do you get it? So, food.
Sure.
Oh, Jesus.
A ministry.
Yeah.
But Jacob, God bless you for coming. We've had an insightful conversation, and we've seen all the wilderness, guys. You know, wherever you are, whoever you are, PK or not, there's always a preparation stage for you, and God uses all of us. And we've seen how God has.
It's through ministry I got my wife. Do you know that?
Wow.
That's one of the blessings of ministry.
Information.
There's a story, but I just say,
don't you remember Abet Nariaka? Who anointing and not you? I'm not you with the pedal. But yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for pulling up, guys. We love to, for you to share what you've learned. Share it to your friends, comment, like, subscribe. But until then, all right, guys, it's the PK podcast. Let's go.